So, good morning, everybody. Now the time is 9 o'clock, and we are ready for this very interesting morning. We are today hosting four companies, on this very interesting oncology seminar, where we highlight the latest projects from four different companies and focus on cancer, of course, and oncology, but also on the funding side and the platform. With me today in the studio, I have Henrik Ekman, our pharma analyst, and with me from Gothenburg, I have Thomas Berggren, also equity analyst. I hope we're going to have a very exciting day. I would like to welcome the audience as well, and hopefully you have a lot of questions. And as usually, you are very much welcome to post the questions in the chat on your right side, and we will forward the questions to the companies during the presentation. We are going to stream the event live today on Facebook towards Aktieporteføljen, a big network. And I would like to announce as well that we made a strategic Dette, a Finnish company, made a strategic investment into HC Andersen earlier this year, and they are with us today as well. So they are streaming the events. So with that said, I would like to start the event and welcome everybody. So first of all, I would like to present the team, Henrik, Thomas, and myself. And we would like to take some highlights about the sector, what is moving the sector for the moment. And with that said, I would like to hand over the mic to Henrik. Welcome, Henrik.
Thank you, Klaus, and hello, everybody. Yes, as this is just a general observation from our side on the biotech sector in general. The topic for today is oncology, but this goes for all biotech and life science companies also within oncology, that they are currently down a lot year to date in terms of stock prices, and some suggest this sometimes suggests that sector is not relevant or is not interesting, but we certainly think it is. It's definitely not out. It's important to remember that the fundamentals are still in place. The medical need for all these clinical development projects are still out there. So fundamentally, there's nothing new. The companies are prolonging the process of developing products just as they've always done. So in that way, it's a robust business model for these companies if they are financed sufficiently, and that's the big if here. I think we've already seen a number of companies that have had potential. Either they have current issues, not on our companies that we are presenting today, but generally in the sector. They do have issues in terms of securing finance or potentially being able to do that. And that means that some of the companies in the sector have already made strategic changes. They've closed down pipeline projects and so on. So it does have a relevance, the current risk-off sentiment in the market in terms of creating the ability for these companies to refinance themselves, which is an ongoing issue for these companies. And also, of course, as one of the issues with the current risk-off is motivated by the current interest rate rise. That, of course, affects the valuations of the investment bankers, analysts, DCF models, these 10 to 15 to 20 year prognosis models for cash flow streams. Of course, when interest rates move up, in theory, the valuation has to be negatively affected. So, so of course, there are short-term issues, but for longer-term fundamental interests, we're really sure that this is an interesting time to be interested in biotech. And also of course there has been, I'm sure, what some observers call tourist investors into the sector, that they going back a couple of years, they tipped their toe into this sector from a risk-on speculative perspective, and some suggest that the current downturn is the result of these tourist investors leaving the sector because they don't have the easy access to financing their short-term investments. So if that observation is correct, then it's a matter of assessment whether these tourist investors have left the sectors and it's ready for the longer term fundamental investors to move in. So I think that would be interesting to see, and as we will hopefully see today, and I'm sure we will see today, underlying fundamental clinical development is intact and ongoing in all these companies. So I think it's an interesting time.
Thanks a lot, Henrik. Thanks a lot to paint a short picture of what is moving the sector for the moment. So just to sum up, biotech is down, but it's not out. With that said, I would like to present the team at HCA, because we really put a lot of effort into to strengthen the team during first half of 2022. And on the picture, just very shortly, you see Jack Austin. He works with me to build up the Swedish market, and Henrik, as you already met, is analyst covering the sector and have a long career within asset management as well, covering all kinds of sectors and countries. Also Teddy's son, she's sitting in our advisory board and have a long background within the pharma and biotech industry. And then newly we recruited Thomas Berggren. He's with a long career within investment banking and specialized in macro modeling, different kinds of sectors, but really good at a top-down approach. And then the youngest member of the team, Oliver, a workaholic, really good at doing things and work in the group together with us. So a strong team, and with that said, I would like to present Henrik and Thomas again later on. But we also decided with this effort into the sector that we would build an index covering the whole sector in the Nordics. We would like to call this index the Little Mermaid Index. And of course, that's closely related to the name HC Andersen Capital. I would like to hand over the word to Thomas, who is actually the architect behind this index. Thomas, welcome.
Thank you, Klaus. Is the sound okay?
It's very good, Thomas. We hear you
it's
loud
a long
and
way.
clear.
It's a long way from Gothenburg. So good morning, everybody, and just please say I'm super excited about this opportunity to be part of this great organization, build and work closely with especially the life science industry. So as as Henrik mentioned before, the time span when it comes to life science tends to be rather short, and a lot of the market cap developments are sort of directed by the flow in the market. So the idea with the Little Mermaid Index is, of course, that we as HC Andersen Capital wants to be a front runner in terms of helping the Nordic life science companies. And central in this effort is to communicate the broader equity story. And to do that, you need both history and you need some sort of forward-looking idea to give give an investor a decent shot at valuing the investment opportunity as such. And the index will play an important role in giving a good idea about history, but also we think a good idea in relative terms when it comes to valuation. This is in line with our ambition to democratize investment by giving especially private investors access to these kind of tools, which normally would take a lot of data mining to obtain. So basically, this will be a part of a bigger effort in really launching a stronger presence in the life science industry, together with our current webinars and investment cases and so forth. And I hope we will see a lot of more partners in the future, which would like to dig deeper into how we can develop this product. But I can tell you that as of now, a planned launch of an expanded version of a report within biotech and life science is planned for this summer. It says before summer, but you know, it's, so that's a little intro to the Little Mermaid Index.
Yeah. We actually, during the research process, found out that it's a little odd that there's no index in the Nordics combining all these companies who have a lot of things in common. Normally they are included in the local pharma or biotech index in Sweden or Denmark or Norway for that sake. And that's why we took the challenge to build, first of all, the index, and as Thomas mentioned, into a bi-weekly product where we of course cover the index on a professional manner, but also highlight the companies that are kind of ours within the index, and try to elaborate a little on ongoing events, news from the companies and other stuff. So that's the plan.
And let me add to that before we go into the methodology, that I think that right now we could be in a sort of an inflection point when it comes to the importance of having a strong presence in digital media and a strong presence among private investors. The equity story will be increasingly more important going forward, especially going back to what Henrik mentioned about things look good for the life science biotech industry if properly financed, and for those who have a great prospect but needs some additional finance in the coming quarters, their equity story could be the difference between failure and success. So yeah, let's continue to the methodology.
Yes.
I won't bore anybody to death here, but this is just to be somewhat more transparent around. This is not an index which has been created to create a financial market upon. It's more a benchmark, an ambition to create a market-leading benchmark for one of the most essential industries, as I see it, in the world. And the Nordics have a great history in providing interesting life science companies, and to continue that effort, because I think it's an integral part of society as such in the Nordics. We felt we needed to be more specific around the actual development on which companies are actually taking part of this. The index constituency is open, and we do as all indices daily updates. We don't have any cap. If we are lucky enough to have 2,000 life science companies on the Nordic exchanges, well, then we will have 2,000 index constituencies. It's that's how the system works. Everybody get a fair share of respective market cap. However, the
We cover all
only
stock exchanges, Thomas. Yeah, it's not like we only cover NASDAQ, but we include all the exchanges.
all listed companies which are listed in the Nordics, yes. So of course, in mathematical terms, some of these might have very low weights, but the idea of it is actually to sort of is to capture a great growth story from the very start, from a 150 million krona company to maybe something in the billions of dollars. And that's what I'm really looking forward to see these success stories. Inclusion exclusion will appear, and naturally in other indices it's natural with quarterly or yearly inclusion exclusions, like the main national indices. We think monthly is more accurate since the market is moving so fast. And then to point it out again that the general adjustments for free float and liquidity constraints has not been conducted on this index. So it will not be proper index to create financial assets on, but it will be a great benchmark to follow going forward if you want to know how the Nordic life science companies are doing.
Good. Should we show the index, Thomas?
Let's do that. And
how it's performed so far?
So here it is. No, it's maybe no surprise that there's been some ups and downs. Very interesting, however, is that, and this sort of it has nothing to do with data mining. It's just the way the reality looks, that if you invested $1 or $100 in the US S&P Biotech ETF in 2018, you were lost out on maybe 15%, 15 to 20%. If you did the same investment, of course, ignoring the FX rate, in our index, you will have made almost 50%. And that's quite interesting, because the general idea that many have is that also going back to Henrik's introduction here, the tourist investors have a lot of impact on the price development in the Nordic life science. That must, given this picture we are painting here, if that's true, the Nordic life science companies are actually doing far better than their US peers. That's just a general reflection. We will get back to this in the coming months with some new observations and some new analytics tools, and I hope you will be very excited to follow this development. So should we
move on to the constitution?
Move on to the last slide?
Yeah, we have a question from one participant. Would you like to answer that, Thomas? Do we have what is the biggest company in the index, and what is the smallest in the index?
So if you move on to the next slide, I can answer to that in detail.
Yes.
The next slide covers the current index constituents, and these are just ranked on initial letters, so or name. So to answer the question, what is the biggest company in the index, and what is the smallest company? So the smallest company, that's a hard one to answer, but there are a few ones that are in the region of 10 million euros in market cap. The largest one is the Danish Genmab, and that's actually also the only company that falls short or just triggers the index cap of 10%. So as you can see, there are 160 plus companies, a lot of diversity. Our great clients are in there. Maybe we can mention. Maybe Henrik, you can mention if you have any special companies you want to comment on in this group, but it pretty much covers all.
And we will, of course, because this is very small letters, so it could be difficult for the audience to read, but we will, of course, publish both the methodology and also the constituents, either on our homepage or on the LinkedIn profile, as soon as we launch the index officially.
Sure, and I hope this list will. Huh?
No, sorry. Carry on.
No, I hope this list will be even longer and the letters even smaller. So let's see what's happened. I think it's important for our partners to understand that the exposure they will receive in this will obviously be quite something different. It will be extraordinary, given the background of now we created the framework for this report.
Good, Thomas. With that said, I would like to hand over the word to Henrik. You will hear more about the index and also about our coming newsletter, including the index. Thanks a lot, Thomas.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. And then I will carry on to Henrik. Oh, just 2 seconds. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Klaus. And this is just to show, I know the time is running, so this is just to show that it's no coincidence that we start out with this seminar about the cancer pipeline projects, because it is by far the biggest area within the different indications within the life science, biotech and pharmaceutical world. This is where the money is being spent, and this is one of the most interesting areas, as we will see when we have our company participants presenting later on. So if we take the next slide, it's just to show that cancer treatments are not just about chemotherapy and surgery, as I'm sure all of us know about, and unfortunately have relations to people that has been affected by that. Currently, there are a whole range of different treatments, as we will see today. And this is treatments. The same goes for diagnostics, different tools to further advance treatments, as we will see today. Some of the companies presenting within that area. So this is just to show that the wide range of cancer treatments, and in particular the new and high growing area of the immunotherapy and radiation therapy, which are the new big areas which we will always also have representative presenting today. So I think it's a very interesting and the biggest one, high growth area. So it will be very interesting to hear our comments.
Yes. Yeah, so just to sum up before we start presenting the companies. So it's not, we launched this index. It's not only about the whole route to a better treatment. It's not only the compounds themselves, new medicines. It's also a matter of diagnostics, medtech, and to bring down the costs and also the time for the patient in the system to get a better treatment plan. But we'll cover that within a couple of minutes. So with that said, thanks a lot, Thomas. Thanks a lot, Henrik. And we will take a short break before we start the first company.